All right, so we're going to move on into the second half of Unit 7, which is going to start with meiosis. So with meiosis, it's going to build off of what we learned with mitosis. So you still have, you still have those notes. It's probably important for you to go back and review the phases and remember the phases of cellular division: interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase, with the cytokinesis being there at the end. So chromosomes, this is mostly a review, contain genetic information for organisms. So in sexually reproducing organisms, each parent is going to contribute half of the needed number of chromosomes for that organism. For example, in humans, human has 46 chromosomes. The mother and the father are both going to contribute 23. 23 plus 23 is going to be 46. Two important vocab terms here at the bottom of this slide: diploid and haploid. So a diploid cell is a cell that's going to contain both of the pairs of chromosomes. In other words, diploid cells are going to contain the full amount of chromosomes needed for that organism. Haploid is a cell that's going to contain half of the needed chromosomes. And you also need to know how it's signified. Diploid signified by 2N, capital N. Haploid is by just a capital N. All right, meiosis. So meiosis is a process of making gametes. And remember, gametes are sex cells, and they are, of course, haploid in eukaryotic organisms. Meiosis is going to be divided into two divisions. You have meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. And interphase is only going to be found in meiosis 1. Okay, there's not an interphase 2. It's just interphase 1, or interphase is right before meiosis 1. Okay, DNA is going to be replicated during the S phase. All right, so the steps of meiosis, and there's going to be very similar to that of mitosis. So prophase 1, the chromosomes are going to align with homologous pairs to create a tetrad. Each tetrad is going to contain 4 chromatids, 2 from each of the homologous pairs. Another vocab term is going to be crossing over. Crossing over only happens during prophase 1. Homologous chromosomes swap portions of their DNA, and this results in an exchange of alleles. An allele is an expression of a gene. Big thing there we're crossing over is it's only going to happen in prophase 1. All right, continue on with meiosis 1. You have metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1. All the things that happen in metaphase, anaphase, and telophase are the same thing that we learned with mitosis. So in metaphase, tetrads are going to align across the middle of the cell. Spindle fibers will attach to the centromeres. Anaphase, the homologous chromosomes are going to be separated by the spindle fibers pulling them apart. Telophase, the cleavage furrows are going to begin to form, and the nucleus is going to begin to rebuild. Cytokinesis is, of course, the cell splits into two. Now remember, we don't go into interphase. Okay, we go from telophase 1 as the cell split for cytokinesis right back into prophase 2. Okay, so meiosis 2 is going to occur right after telophase 1. So there's no interphase before meiosis 2. Steps of meiosis 2, very similar to that as steps of meiosis 1. Okay, so prophase 2 is going to be similar to prophase 1, except there's no tetrad formation, and there's also no crossing over. Metaphase 2, they're going to align across the middle. Anaphase 2, sister chromatids are separated. They move to opposite ends of the cell. Telophase 2, cleavage furrow is going to form. And finally, the cytokinesis is when the cells actually split apart. And the final product of meiosis is going to be 4 haploid cells. Because remember, meiosis, we're creating gametes or sex cells. Gamete formation. So sperm cells are the male gamete and egg cells are the female gamete, and they are created during meiosis. So for sperm production, we see 4 sperm cells are produced, and each one of those sperm cells are genetically unique. For egg production, 1 egg is going to be produced with 3 polar bodies being produced instead of full egg cells. A polar body is a smaller haploid cell that usually dissolves after formation. Last slide for this section. Mitosis versus meiosis. So again, you probably need to go back and review mitosis and compare it to meiosis. But big thing is which cells do the process and the resulting product of the process. So mitosis, we have two genetically identical cells, daughter cells from one cell. Meiosis, we have one cell that's going to make four genetically different cells. Okay. All of the cells in an organism are going to replicate using mitosis with the exception of sex cells. Let's say that again. All of the cells in an organism are going to replicate using mitosis with the exception of sex cells. And of course, sex cells are gametes and they're going to be done or they're going to use the process of meiosis. There's a form that goes with this. Please be sure you complete it. If you have questions, let me know. Thank you.